Hey y'all, what's going on? It's Barb Meets World. We're back again to discuss Married to Medicine Season 11, Episode 13. This ain't the playground, okay? But before we get into all that, I'm going to need you guys to hit that like button. Yes, hit that like button because it helps me and my channel in terms of the algorithm, helps me attract new subscribers such as yourself. And if you are not a current subscriber, not exactly sure what you're waiting for, but hit the subscription button, become a Barb's Babe. I would love to have you. Also, comment down below your thoughts on my commentary as well as the episode. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you know each and every time I make an upload. Last but not least, share me with all of your people. And boom, here we are. What's going on, y'all? I'm about to work out again after this, so don't mind the workout aesthetic that I'm giving today, okay? Nonetheless, this episode was cute and whatnot, gave us some things to discuss. So let's get right into it. Toya and Eugene, they were at home. She was fixing a little breakfast or whatever, giving body or whatever. Like, that is one thing we cannot deny. Toya's got body for days, honey. Body for days. I love to see it. The dress was dressing. It was doing everything it needed to do. So anyway, they were at home. She asks if he's spoken to any of the guys since getting back. And he was like, I'm the type of person, I need a little space when, things go left like that or whatever. So that's just what he was doing. He wanted to give Dr. G a breather, so to speak. But in his confessional, he more so shows his true colors and feelings towards Greg, which in my opinion, I don't really think he likes Greg too much. They're not close. And we've collected that through some bits and pieces that Eugene has said himself. So in his confessional, he was just like, he didn't like the manner in which Greg left Key West. So again, he was just going to give him a little space. And Toya, on the other hand, she feels as though like they should have reached out to them to check their temperature and make sure everything was all good. But that's neither here nor there. We can't go back and rewrite the past. So anyway, but moving forward, they're coming up on their 16th wedding anniversary. So she wants to plan an extravaganza like, Toya loves to do, spend, Eugene's money. And so for this 16th anniversary, she wants to do like a Bridgerton themed Victorian ball, so to speak. He was down for it. And so they agree that everyone will be invited, but the dilemma is how is she going to get all four of those individuals? We know what four individuals she's talking about in the same vicinity without any issues. So she went into it having the best intentions, not wanting to isolate anybody. But again, it's just like based on the fallout from Key West, how do we even get back to that? And my question is, there is no getting back to that because originally these are individuals, Dr. G and Sweet Tea, that should never have been on the show from the get-go. So I think that, scratch that. I know for a fact that Quad brings more to the show. Sweet Tea even said herself that Dr. G, the guy, he doesn't even get paid. So why are you here? And she not really bringing it. Scratch that. She's not bringing anything. So Quad, she is a major anchor on the show. And this was her arena before you guys were even a thought about in the last couple of seasons. So y'all need to exit stage left. And I would much rather see Quad. I don't want to see these people on my screen another season. I cannot take it. It's just the ignorance and the narcissism and the abusiveness that we're seeing. It makes me nauseous. But anyway, then we see Quad hopping on over to Heavenly's house. I can't even lie. I died when Quad walked right in and Heavenly was like, oh, you just walked right in? I'm an empty nester now. I could have been having sex anywhere in the house. Heavenly, I can't. But it was funny to me. Anyway, Heavenly asked Quad if she was, traumatized over the couple strip and everything. Quad was like, yeah, it was a whole monkey full. But, when we get the clips of that, of course, and Heavenly also wants to know how things are going to be mended. And Quad's whole thing is we focus so much so on the couples of it all and the couples therapy, when in reality, what about mending things with the girls? Like, why don't I plan this little girlfriend's check-in or whatever to decompress and everything, and have you guys wind up being at her house, of course, or whatever. But she will not be inviting Phaedra because Phaedra said fuck them last week, right? So I wouldn't invite her either. And also, she's obviously not going to invite Sweet Tea. So again, and were you guys going to be bothered by that? I'm not bothered by that. I'd much rather see Quad and King than Sweet Tea and Dr. G, who bring absolutely nothing. She doesn't even bring a brain to the show. And if you guys haven't already seen it in that, we definitely seen it in this episode, and we're about to get to that in just a few moments. So anyway, all the couples we care about, they go to the dance studio or whatever to rehearse the waltz for the ball in their petticoats. And Anila was also there, which they didn't even give, poor thing, they didn't even give her a mic. She probably want to be back on this show so bad, but nonetheless, Toya hands out the invitations or whatever. It's like a Georgia 10 Chronicles type of thing. I thought that was cute. And Mimi also wasn't there, although Steve was there. Nonetheless, again, Toya reiterates how she does want to invite everybody, but they just need to come together and figure out a way that they can make that happen. And again, well, everybody except, again, Phaedra, because she is the one that said F everybody. So I think everybody's pretty much on board with that, even though later on in the episode, we did see Jackie go and try to talk to Phaedra, and we'll get into that later. I think at this point in time, everybody's seen what Phaedra did, which is, in my opinion, she already got the clear that she's going to be going back to Atlanta, which comes on Sunday. And so she again said F y'all. Heavenly even said herself in her live earlier that she felt as though Phaedra had already got the green light on Atlanta, and that's the only way that she was able to orchestrate having that private jet there and all that and stuff like that. So if she's saying that and she's on the show and she was there, then I'm gonna go with that. Phaedra. And she also couldn't stand in the fact that she looked crazy and looked like the liar and couldn't lie her way out of the fact that you knew damn well that them folks was going to be at that trip or whatever. You weren't able to flip the situation because Apollo flipped it on you one better. So, and again, she never really saw, this was only a temporary landing spot for her, y'all, which is again why I don't understand why you guys keep so hard to have her on this show when, again, we don't know shit about this lady. We don't know anything about Phaedra. Please, somebody drop down in my comments and tell me five interesting facts about Phaedra, personal facts. I will wait. Anyway, so Contessa explains how she actually called Sweet Tea or whatever, and she's the one that told them that Greg is going to press charges as far as in the grounds of attempted assault, which, yeah, she said attempted assault. He said attempted battery later, which I looked it up, and they actually do mean two different things. And if Greg did mean attempted a simple assault or whatever, then that the definition, and I can even share it with you guys right here. In Georgia, simple assault is a misdemeanor in Georgia that involves attempting to injure someone, or putting someone in fear of immediate harm. And then for attempted or simple battery, I should say, simple battery in Georgia is a misdemeanor that involves intentional physical contact that is insulting or provoking. It can also include intentionally causing physical harm to another person. So they do hold their differences in definition, but regardless of the fact, and it was crazy that Contessa of all people was saying this, because my whole thing is, and I'll just say it here because I'm going to say it eventually anyway, Greg, you pressing charges, these types of charges on, or trying to, on King, that's cool and all, then fine, if that's how you feel, but have that same energy when it comes to your wife. Then if that's the case, then charges should have been pressed against your wife on the multiple times that she had displayed aggressive behavior and gotten out of pocket. And if you guys need me to break it down, I totally can. And I could give you examples, which include when she had to be restrained last season with her sister over the venue or whatever getting changed, all that. Y'all remember that? That was like one time. She brought her mom there last season to fight Heavenly. She chest bumped Quad, according to her. She's pushed Toya, Simone, whoever, charged at King. She had to be physically restrained in that prayer circle, physically restrained numerous times against Heavenly. There's been so many times that this lady has shown some crazy as hell behavior. So that's fair then, right? For her to get the charges pressed against her then too, right? According to Dr. G's logic. Okay. And to take it a step further, Contessa, you another one talking about square up, ho. If that's the case, Heavenly can press charges against you, right? Because you didn't make any contact, but you said square up, ho, which to me shows me that you're trying to cause me bodily harm. And you're trying to attack me, right? And charge at me, right? So again, and shout out to Toya because she is speaking what needs to be spoken these last couple episodes and saying that, they're all wrong. They've all played parts and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, that's true then. So fine. If this is what we're going to take it, then everybody, you get a charge. How about that? That's how I feel. And if you don't feel that way, then Dr. G, just like Simone said, that's some bitch ass shit. So which one is it? Either you're on bitch ass shit or everybody's getting charges. There's no in between. There's no in between for me. But anyway, moving on. She explains how she called Sweet Tea and, Greg sees things very differently than everybody else's accounts. Yes, because he is a abusive narcissist. Of course he's going to see things differently. Like, what are we talking about here? Anyway, and the legal counsel he probably got was from his homegirl Phaedra. And we know she don't be winning cases like that, according to, like, it's too easy, y'all. It's too easy for me. Anyway, so Eugene, he tries to say that their memories all might not be 100% accurate or whatever. And so then Heavenly jumps in and tell him, like, well, if the rules are reversed, then, and that was your wife, then what will be up? And Eugene's like, yeah, that wouldn't be cool, whatever, that would be a problem and stuff. And Contessa tried to clock Heavenly on this, but I'm like, Contessa, she's never going to make me see that whole thing between her and Heavenly otherwise. I think, and I've spoken about this, I feel like incessantly throughout my videos on this show. So I'm not even going to get into all that right now. Nonetheless, Eugene and Scott are planning to talk to Greg and go from there and see if then they can coordinate a one-on-one between him and King and whatever. So anyway, then they rehearse the waltz. Moving on, we see Mimi and Toya. They meet up for a cucky, and Sweet Tea is also there. And she's just so thankful they invited her out. Whatever. I'm like, because according to them, they not fooling with you after this episode, so you might want to be happy, I guess. Anyway, Toya does give her invite to the ball, and she says that in light of what's happened in the group, that she wants to still extend the invite to everybody because she never wants to have to be put in a situation where she has to choose. But at the same time, she is very much looking at it realistically and thinking that not everybody is going to be able to be there still. So Sweet Tea's whole thing is, well, certain people just can't get over the past. You're right, Sweet Tea. Certain people can't get over the past. Your husband being that main person. Because last time I checked, like Quad said, she left that man. She seems to be living in all of her glory, living her life like it's golden. So again, your words, you sound fucking crazy because your words actually apply to your husband, who you keep trying to defend, and the one that thinks for you. So Toya asks her about what like Greg was filing the report for, whatever. And she was like, oh, that's my business or whatever. Girl, you're not even that. Let me not even say that. So, and then she goes on about how King was taking his shirt off and charging at him and et cetera, and it was just like King this side. Zero accountability was had in this discussion, which is exactly what Toya had an issue with. And I love how she broke it down at the end of this episode, and we'll obviously get into that during at that time. So I love how they played all the times that, like I said earlier, Sweet Tea has gotten beside herself and gotten out of character and tried to come at different people or whatever, because like I said, if King needs to be charged, then so do you, because you've came at people on numerous occasions and displayed that type of behavior. And I feel like that's exactly why Jackie said, like, the homegirl don't need to get that much liquor in her system because you can't handle yourself, it seems to be. So Toya's whole thing is like, why can't that same level of grace be extended to King then, if that's the case? And Mimi, she tries to even explain that, you know, when I grabbed you or whatever, and I looked in your eyes, like, you were not there, girl. Like, you were gone, which means again that you have some things you need to work on and you have a part to play in this. And all she had to say is, yeah, we all had a part to play in this, myself included. I'm gonna talk to Greg. I'm gonna see, you know, how we can work the thing and what we can do, and I'll get back to you guys. She could have said something along those lines, but instead she sat there without taking any accountability and allowing her husband to dictate her moves when he's not even the one that gets the fucking check. Anyway, she even tries to like downplay it and say that she was just yelling and stuff. No, girl, there was a lot more going on than yelling, and I'm glad that they clocked her on that. And Toy even asked her, like, you know, can they sit down with King and Quad or whatever? And Sweet Tea's like, you know, Greg can make that decision, and she's just leaving all of the decision making up to him. And I just think that is exactly why he said what he said, which is, you are naive. And actually he said that, but actually that's the exact reason why he got with her in the first place, because he's somebody who needs to have to be able to display their superiority over their partner, which is why he got so beside himself when Quad was talking about how she left him and et cetera, because he's never somebody who wants to be seen in that light. He's never going to be the one that was inferior or wasn't pulling the strings in the relationship. He can't live with himself in that, is what I feel. And Toya even tried to give it to her again and you know, ask her if they could, you know, again, facilitate things and try to mend things and all that stuff. And she just wasn't able to answer the question for herself. She kept roping Greg into it. And it's like, who the cares what Greg thinks? It's what we're literally asking you what your thoughts are. And she couldn't even form that, which is why I don't feel like she needs to be on this show. I don't. And which is why Heavenly's always calling you less than smart, or that you can't hold a candle to how these other ladies are coming, because damn, you can't even think for yourself. And it's like, at the end of the day, Heavenly she's not perfect by any means, y'all. And she is someone who always claims to be submissive and stuff to Damon and all that. But at the same time, I've never seen her not be able to answer a question for herself. Come on. But anyway, continue to allow your husband to dictate how you navigate in this group. Like, I couldn't be friends with nobody like that. Anyway, so over at Contessa's house, Scott's house, whatever, we see this meetup between him, Greg, and Eugene. And Scott's like, you know, checking in with him and stuff like that. And Greg's all like, oh yeah, basically he expected them to check in on him sooner. That should show you there's no place for you on this show. Anyway, so Eugene's like, you know, heard this rumor about you filing a police report or whatever. And Greg was like, yeah, why wouldn't I? The man came charging at me like a maniac. The man came charging at you like a maniac after you disrespected his girl, after you jumped up and walked up on him first, after you were standing on disrespectful business. Are we sure we saw the same thing? Were you there? Anyway, and then he goes on to say that, again, like I said before, he says simple battery this time around, which regardless of the matter for me and for Eugene and for Scott and for everybody outside of him and I guess Sweet Tea, because she's gonna have his back no matter what, because if she don't have his back and she starts to see him for who he truly is, then that would be her admitting that Quad was right and the ladies were right, and she can just not have that, apparently, in my opinion. But anyway, so, and I'm glad Eugene was like, but did he touch you? But was there contact? Did he touch it? Like, he's really trying to get him to see that this man didn't lay a finger on you, though, at the end of the day, and you're too busy trying to be petty. And I say petty, and I'll give you the reason why. And I think it's because this was his last ditch effort to try to sabotage Quad and be so obsessed over her, because had he gotten it to where he can no longer film and stuff with them or whatever, then this is obviously going to reduce Quad's checks or whatever, because she'll be in less scenes. Obviously, she obviously wants to film with her man. Like, he's obviously a big part of her life at this point or whatever. So I think this was a way for Dr. G to try to mess up her bag, and again, to just a power move altogether, and a power petty Karen ass fucking move. Like, I can't see it a different way. I'm sorry. And it's like they saw that he was on bullshit, but they kept it cute. I will say they kept it cute, because they were really trying to get him to see that, like, are you serious right now with this? Like, it just sounded crazy as hell for you to try to pull this. Anyway. And finally, Eugene is like, you're trying to stand up for your lady. He's trying to stand up for his lady. So how do we fix this between two men and try to be productive and, overcome this conflict or whatever? And Scott was like, are you looking for an apology from Quad? Which I'm glad he asked. Like, yeah, he's looking for something from Quad. His focus is always going to be on Quad. Whether it's because he wants an apology, wants the time of day, whatever it is, he is always going to find it in his heart to want to do something with Quad. And so Greg is like, let me show you what I want. And he proceeds to play this tired ass, made up ass song with his voice that sounds like nails on a chalkboard, that we all were subjected to hearing, of him talking about and he was playing he has the same speaker as me. Now I need to get a new speaker because, anyway, talking about I gotta be free from the bullshit. I'm a man. I gotta be free, etc., etc. I want to get on my life with my brand new wife. I probably sound better than him. And my whole thing is, you got to be free. How do you have to be free when this is the woman that divorced, that left you years prior, and you decide to come back onto a show that is her show, but she got to free you? What are we talking about here? And brainwashed buffoon over here is all cheering him on, even though she kind of had her face twisted up in the confessional. I don't know if you guys caught that. It's too busy cheering you on, being a pick-me. I would have laughed in your face and kicked you out my house if I was Scott, because you cannot be serious with all this. Anyway, moving on. So after that, we see all the ladies meeting up at Quad's house for this girlfriend's check-in or whatever. Contessa's outfit was cute. I feel like it was the wrong occasion, though. Heavenly looked good, in my opinion. She was like, I walk like my coochie good, right? Girl, bye. So, of course, Quad announces that there's 2 rules. You got to have a cocktail, and we ain't talking about nothing in the past, because y'all like to talk about stuff in the past. We love to live in the past on these types of shows. So, but anyway, Contessa, when they get their drinks and stuff like that, Contessa's whole thing is like, why can't we talk about things in the past? And Quad's like, trying to just build camaraderie and have fun and yada, yada, yada. And so Simone, though, she slips it in there saying that, we're trying to move onward and upward. And she's like, so you're definitely coming to Toya's ball or whatever. And Quad's like, here's the thing. She gives, in her Quad way of speaking, she basically said something to the effect of like, we know what she's getting at. If my man can't come, I ain't coming. And last time I checked, the Lunsfords picked a bone with us. And so if they're going to be there, we not going to like, yeah, that's where we are. And so I love when Toya spoke up to say, and actually, let me not even say that. Simone's like, we need you here or whatever. And my whole thing is, really, Simone? Because right message, wrong messenger on that one. Because I was like, you need her here, but last year you were the main one kicking her off that Napa trip. But anyway, I digress. Toya's like, no one's ever going to tell me that this group of ladies like cannot be looking beautiful in a place and put their differences to the side and et cetera, et cetera. And Simone again makes mention of how she said, or how King said he was sorry right after that whole thing debacle in Key West. He came to them and said sorry and took accountability and owned his part and all those things that next day. And so that she was very appreciative of. And as far as she's concerned, that's a man's man or whatever. So then Toya's like, I even sat down with Sweet Tea the other day and Mimi was there and stuff. And it really put things into perspective for her because Sweet Tea obviously lacks any type of accountability. And that's even according to Mimi, who's a psychiatrist as well, right? So, and Contessa needed more clarification or whatever. And so, according to Toya, she's just like, I had no issues, or we there's what? Talk. I'm sorry, y'all. Talk to text because my notes do not make any sense. But basically, she said, that Sweet Tea was making about them not feeling, comfortable or not knowing if they can like restrain her. She could restrain herself, and they could restrain herself, or might go left, or however she wanted to put it. And Quad, on the other hand, has let it be known that they can coexist peacefully in the same space. They could be on the other side of the room. You can be on the other side of the room. So if you break it down, it looks as though y'all, the Dunsford, shout out to the diva Erica De Niro, they are the problem children in the situation. So you guys just eliminated yourself from the equation because you've admitted that there's a possibility that you can't contain yourself. So no, I'm not about to have you in here fucking my shit up. So you guys got to go. Which is again why there's no reason for you guys to be on the show. And I honestly, I'll say that in just a minute, but some self-control needs to be had up in that household. Like nobody in that household seems to have self-control. And I think that's a major flaw that is going to be something that plagues her. And that is something that he's going to continue to struggle with, I think, for the rest of his life, because he's always got somebody by his side to big his head up to just be absolutely a maniac. And he's the maniac, Dr. G, in my opinion. Speeding off in that damn Mini Cooper. Anyway, so she's like, if I have to choose to invite and not invite, if you're making me choose, then, and, she's going to go with Quad or whatever. And Quad, of course, gets emotional or whatever, because at the end of the day, she's only ever wanted these women to have her back and stuff. And I appreciated that they gave her that. They ended in a group hug and everything like that. But at the same time, I do hope specifically the Golden Girls, I guess, because as Heavenly says, they all played a part on Sweet Tea and Dr. G coming onto the show. I think this was more so self-serving, and I hope it doesn't go to Quad's head though at this end of the day, because I do feel like they could always flip on her at the drop of a dime. And I feel like the only reason why they probably were like, this is not good is because, yeah, y'all look completely effed up, one, in general. And two, it's because this could have caused an issue where now, yeah, Quad isn't coming around. And whether you guys want to admit it or not, she has given us a lot of her life and she is good TV and all the things. And you guys, on the other hand, don't really got ish going on, or as people always love to say when it comes to Heavenly, don't like to speak on the reality of y'all's lives. So again, I think it was more so self-serving at the end of the day. So Quad, I want you to take heed and kind of take it, with a grain of salt or whatever. But that's just, I don't know, maybe that's just my own skepticism, which is why I said what I said before about like, oh, we need you, Quad. You do? It's like you need her, but you don't. You need her for your reasons, but she's taking it probably like you need her a different way. I think they're talking about two different things or whatever. So I'm gonna need Quad to read between the lines or whatever and not forget how they had her effed up at one point. But anyway, what else? Okay, so the final scene is again between Phaedra and Jackie, and it's really nothing too crazy except for Jackie going over to Phaedra's house that we'd never really be in ever. Again, another reason why I don't understand why you want this lady on your show. We don't know about her. Still waiting on those 5 things down in the comments. Anyway, and Jackie reiterates that she really wanted to check on Phaedra no matter what happened. She doesn't like to hurt people, and they hurt her, and Phaedra's like, you did. Okay, perpetual victim. Anyway, she's like, it has nothing to do with you though. And, I was a bit heated. And again, I love how Jackie is standing on the fact that no, Heavenly told you that that he was coming. Like, what are we talking about here? And that's why I think, again, Phaedra knows she was dead ass wrong for that. And again, I also think it's because she obviously would rather just be on Housewives anyway, but she took no accountability in this either, which is why I think that her and Dr. G are so buddies, because they both don't have any self-awareness, it seems like. And so I'm glad Jackie clocked that and was like, she's clearly not gonna take any accountability. Phaedra calls Heavenly the devil's daughter, which you got so much to say here, but you're also the person that skipped out in the reunion. So it's just constant power moves, I feel like, on Phaedra's part. And Phaedra, in the end, she does agree that, like, never say never when it comes to them, crossing paths with Grace or whatever, I guess, in the future. But as far as her showing up at the ball and stuff, like, no, she doesn't want to be around them. And I feel like the only reason why she said never say never is because Portia and Quad are cool. They be in the same friend group or whatever, the Portias, Shamias, the Monyetas, the Candies, the Yandys, they all run kind of in that same circle, whatever. So I'm like, Phaedra, you probably just saying that because you know damn well that specifically you're probably going to be amongst Quad in the future or whatever. So you probably will keep it cute because, like I said, her and Portia are good Judies or whatever. So I think that was the underlying message there. It really ain't, again, it ain't even about you, Jackie. But again, and she probably just wanted to shut down the conversation because, again, her mind is on Rohan now. Anyway, so yeah, we officially won't be seeing any more, I guess, of Phaedra on here, but starting on Sunday, like I said earlier, we will see her back on Housewives. I'm not excited about that, but I know some of you guys who are watching this will be. Why? I still don't know. Again, waiting on those 5 things down in the comments. But that's really all I have to say. That's really all I have to say about this episode. Let me look at my notes one more time. Yeah, that's really all I have to say. Sweet Tea and Dr. G don't want to see you guys back next season. I think that you guys are ruining the show for me. And I'm quite over it. So yes, y'all, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, do all of the things. I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.